Welcome to the episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we have a fun one for you. We're going to break down some news, give you some movie and TV recommendations, and then review the brand new Netflix film, NYAD. As always, I'm joined by my partner here, Mr. Don Fisher. How are you today, bud?
I'm good, man. October is a special time for me. It's sad that it's coming to a close. It always goes by so fast. Like September feels like it takes forever. And then before I know it, October's gone. And then we're fucking eating Thanksgiving. I've gained 5 pounds. And then we're at Christmas and I'm sad because I gained 5 more pounds. And then, my New Year's resolution is to try to lose those 10 pounds that I gained during the holidays.
Yeah. And then you don't lose the 10 pounds. And then next year, this all rinse, recycle, repeats. And then, then you're up like 20 more pounds than you were. And then it's like, fuck, I hate my life. And then you get old and it's hard to lose the weight. And then it's just it's insane, man. Like this.
Yeah, like for all the people out there, once you get married, you're gonna have to eat well or stay on some kind of workout regimen because you start getting comfortable because you're like, I found my person, and that weight's gonna come on, especially if y'all enjoy
fat and
eating.
happy. Fat and happy,
Yeah.
man. I get
Yeah.
it.
And then, and there's that thing of once you start having kids, you gain sympathy weight
Mm.
with your wife. And there's just a lot. I know since me and my wife have been together, we or moved in together before we got married. I think there was probably 2018, and I've probably gained
Yeah.
like 30 pounds.
Yeah. I'm the
And
same
it doesn't
way.
help that she's a baker either. So,
Well,
it is what it is.
that definitely doesn't. No, so like the same way. So right before I met my wife, I had gotten into the best shape of my entire life. I had lost, now this is no joke. I was around 350. Like I weighed around 350 pounds. I got down to about 230. I was
Mm.
in the best shape. I was so happy. And then like we got together, we got engaged, we got married. I got fucking fat and happy. I've gained at least 30 pounds in 30, maybe 40, maybe even heavy on the 40 side
Right.
since
But the key word to the end of that is happy. It's
yeah, yeah.
you're like, fuck it. This person still loves me, and we enjoy, going to try new foods and things like that. So
I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, relationship
yeah,
wise.
yeah, for
However,
sure. And then you go take your shirt off and you're like, yo, I don't look like The Rock. I don't at all. Not even
right?
close.
It's like, man, I just want to be able to take a shirt off at the beach and just chill. I can't do that. There ain't no fucking way I'm doing that right now. So,
Right, right.
well, that being said, for our first segment, I did see some big news. This one before we got two different news segment. We won't, and we're pre-recording this. We're gonna let you guys know in advance. So this is pre-recorded a week ahead of time, but we're gonna release it obviously the following week. But um, one of the big news that I saw on Netflix here, Skydance Animation found a new home with Netflix.
Mm.
They are leaving Apple Studios, making Netflix their new animation headquarters. All their
Oh
animated
shit.
films, including the one they've already planned, will now be exclusively on Netflix. On the horizon, we've got Spellbound, slated for 2024, featuring Rachel Zegler and Titus Burgess, followed by Puko in 2025. While the animation partnership between Apple and Skydance has evolved, the companies will still collaborate on live action projects. Yeah, the movie's kind of unexpected, and with Netflix recent animation accolades, Skydance move seems like a brilliant play in the movie chess game. I was surprised by this. Skydance had built a kind of good relationship um, with Apple
Apple.
and their movies. Like I really liked Luck. I thought Luck was
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
And I really liked Blush. I thought it was a
Yeah.
fantastic short film.
Blush was really good.
Yeah, Blush was fantastic. I thought Luck was kind of underappreciated, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think
uh,
because it came so late, and there were so many good animated films that year that just kind of got swept under the rug a little bit.
yeah, so it's definitely an interesting movie, especially that they're going to dive right into this movie in 2024 was Spellbound. I mean, it said Rachel Zegler
Yeah.
and Titus Burris. And we got Javier Bardem, Jordan Fisher, Nicole Kim, and Nathan Lane, John Lithgow. Why in the world was Titus Burgess' name is like even like we got Academy Award nominated winners here, but whatever. But definitely interesting news. Any thoughts on the deal there, Dom?
Well, man, so I think I discussed this with another buddy recently. As we get to the point where prices are going up on everything, including streaming services,
Oof.
as we all are continuing to cut the cable cord essentially, and but with the prices going up, we're all gonna eventually dwindle it down to maybe 2 to 3 streaming services. And we all know, we as much as people talk about, oh, does Netflix don't have this, or they don't have good this, or they, things that are negative people don't like. The fact that they talk about it that much means Netflix is the go-to, and they're the OG of this shit, and they're gonna continue to be the leader, whether it's in the interface and how the layout and the stuff that they are able to acquire and how long this stuff sticks around or not. They're the ones to beat, and they're the ones that are gonna outlast most of them. I mean, we've seen how Facebook, Instagram, no matter what new thing comes out, those two are going to be the ones you go to. No matter how many more YouTube type things come out, YouTube's going to be the one standing at the end of it. So I think maybe Skydance is possibly thinking like, oh, people like subscriptions and money. Who's got it? And maybe it's Netflix. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I would assume that Netflix is always all reliable. Even when I pop up on my Fire TV, Prime Video is not the first thing that pops up. Even when I first when I first got it, it's Netflix. It's the first app that's there because they know. So it's interesting, but also could be um, certain type of moves we see from other companies in the future.
I definitely agree. Another new breaking news story out of the world of well, kind of Hollywood, I guess. Maybe Tennessee, I guess you could say technically. Media company Daily Wire is making its own adaptation of the Brother Grimm fairy tale Snow White called Snow White and the Evil Queen. The film is set to release in 2024, will be the first feature-length production for the company's kids entertainment platform called Bentkey. It will star conservative YouTuber and Daily Wire host of the comment section, Brett Cooper. The film looks like it's going to be a story about a princess and a prince, about beauty and vanity, about love and its power to raise from death. It's our own adaptation of the ancient fairy tale. Let's see here. It looks like it would be which opens with the melody voice by Cooper, and it'll be written by Jeremy Boring. I guess he's like the co-owner of the Daily Wire. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I feel like this is coming in the time where Rachel Zegler's Snow White is set to come out. I do think next year, I think it
I
is,
think so.
or depending on strike, obviously.
Right,
I
right,
do
right.
know that they are currently, I know the Daily Wire is like currently filming another movie called or no, that's a TV series called the Pendragon Cycle. Looks kind of Game of Thrones esque or whatever. But what do you think about this, and how do you feel about the like? This is, it is what it is. It's movies. We watch movies. So let's
Mhm.
prefix with everybody watching this if you guys want to say anything about us talking about this. But this is news. Um, how do you think them entering the game of film, especially with a opposition of something that's set to come out of Hollywood? How do you feel about that dynamic? And what do you think about this, especially taking somebody that's not an actress
Right.
and putting her at the forefront of this Snow White character?
Well, I think the first thing with her not being an actress is they're as much as they're opposed to Hollywood, they're doing what Hollywood's doing. If she's popular on YouTube, social media, TikTok, um, you put that face forward because they garner attention. So that's a smart play. As far as them making film, um, it's one of those things where you can hate them, you can love them, but if you don't like what they put out or them in general, you don't have to read, you don't have to watch. It's very easy. Is it something I would probably gravitate towards? Probably not. Now, if I was asked to watch it and review it, I'm gonna do that, and it's gonna be very honest, just like I do everything else, whether or not I agree politically or not, because that's not what it is. It's a movie. Now, I can see them going forward, uh, making a lot of movies like this to where they purposely oppose whatever message they think is coming out of Disney. That's always a big thing. It's always conservatives versus Disney because they don't like everything that Disney does. Which is weird because they don't ever talk about Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon does a lot of similar things, but since Disney's so big, I think they're the ones they always go after. But I assume that this film is going to be everything completely opposite of what they've heard about this newer one. They're gonna try to probably stick exactly to the book because that's always the complaint from the conservative crowd is why are they changing it so much? Why do we have a different person of a different ethnicity? Why do we have a whatever? So I think they're gonna try to be exactly by the book, but also, of course, like a lot of um, propaganda or the way that things they want to slip things in there, they're going to try to do that. They're going to put their messaging in there. Now it is going to be curious to see what they do with the seven dwarfs in this movie because of the names of some of them, and I want to know if these are going to become they're going to go by the book or if they're going to try to make them into some kind of representation of people they don't like. um so and of course there's going to be if they do, it's going to be the backlash. But of course they have a right to their thoughts and opinions, but it is going to be curious to see what comes of it. And of course it's not going to, like a lot of their films of that sort, then it's not going to do big numbers. They're going to claim that it does big numbers, but it has this crowd. And if you if one sect of viewers isn't seeing what they want to see and someone makes that, so be it. As long as it's not out here trying to advertise genocide or anything of that sort. Like, who cares? Let them make what they want to make. You don't got to watch it. Just like a lot of movies that come out that are critically acclaimed that people don't watch just because they don't want to watch a 3-hour movie, or they don't want to watch they don't want to feel like they're preached to or whatnot. So let them do what they do, and we'll see how it turns out, because when money doesn't come in after you spend a lot of money, things fail. So I don't think it's one of those things people need to worry about.
Yep. So this is my thing. Okay, make whatever you want to make. I don't really care. If I get the opportunity to review it, I'll review it. I'll be honest, however I feel. My big thing is with these types of films, who on their level is going to be honest about whether the film sucks or not? And that's where I think that you
Mm-hmm.
have an issue with these type of films from these type of individuals. I don't really care who's making a film. We don't watch a film based on who's making the film. If we did that, then we would not watch a lot of different things that we do. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different aspects that go into this. I watch it for the creators. So if I get an opportunity to watch the Snow White and the whatever, this is Snow White and the Evil Queen or whatever, we'll watch it, we'll review it, we'll talk about it. Okay. But my big thing is who's going to tell them and let them know it's going to be bad? 10 people in that world watch a film and maybe it's bad. I guess a follow-up to this is too, it says it's going to be released on that new Bent Key platform. Does that mean it's not getting a theatrical release? You know what I mean? What does that
That's
look like,
true.
type of thing as well? But it'll be definitely interesting to see how that plays out and how it is. You know what I mean? I'll be intrigued. I mean, I'm always intrigued by a film, but I do agree that there could be, will a political aspect of it be put into the square circle, or will they treat it like a project, a film project?
Yeah.
Is the
And
big thing.
you make a really good point. I didn't think about, like, if only like-minded individuals review it, are they going to be honest? Are they going to say, hey, this is really bad, or is it all going to be positive? Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be very honest opinions, and hopefully people like us do get a chance to watch it, because if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Whether or not we have a relationship with directors, writers, producers, actors, it really doesn't matter. We always got to be honest, especially in this space, because we all want to keep that in the journalistic integrity, so people trust our word.
Absolutely. That being said, don't have any cool fancy music to play for you guys, but it's time to review the movie of the week. Dom, what do you got for us, man?
So this week we have NYAD. NYAD is a 64-year-old marathon swimmer. Diana NYAD attempts to become the first person ever to swim from Cuba to Florida, starring Jodie Foster and Annette Bening. And I think it is really cool, this new trend we're seeing, where we're getting recent history really quickly and made into films, where we might have heard the story in the news cycle a little bit, but we didn't get the full context or the full the complete story. And this is a Netflix film. It is doing a small select theater run before it comes out on Netflix, I believe in November, if I remember correctly. Um, and yeah, it's about a 2 hour runtime. What are your thoughts? I know you weren't too keen on the film, but what are you thinking?
Okay, so the thing about this is the problem I had. Okay, so I knew nothing about
Same.
Diana Nyad when I went into this movie, which I prefer most times because I'm like, cool. Then I can kind of look up and base my opinions on the film, and then maybe go behind the back and see some of the things. Now, there's a lot of elements of this film that I didn't like. You can make a film about an unlikable character and it'd be great. Watch Steve Jobs. You know what I mean? The most
Right.
unlikable man in the world. But Michael Fassbender, the way they wrote that film, it was incredible. However, the film is called NYAD. Okay. That's the title of this film. And I understand that this goal of swimming from Cuba to Florida, it's got an inspirational level to that, and I think a lot of people will gravitate towards that. However, my big problem is I did not care whether she made it from Cuba to Florida. I didn't care. And it's because of who she's just not a good human being. She's not a good person. She's not a good, and this isn't the film. I don't know who she is in real life. I don't know. She could be a bad person. I don't know. If this is based on her book, based on her story, then this means it's based on her. She had something to do with the filmmaking, or I mean, as in like it was based on her book. You know what I mean? She was manipulative. She was like just downright disrespectful. I didn't love how they used the tender moments. Again, you can make something about a bad person and make it a good movie, but I feel like they're trying to make her a good person, right? I feel like the idea of her swimming to keep this inspirational journey, the never give up, the prototypical, and it really is. It's really a paint by numbers overstuffed biopic to me. I thought Annette Bening was fine. I didn't think she was groundbreaking. I didn't love her performance. Jodie Foster, in my opinion, really kind of drove the better acting in this. And Rhys Ifans, I don't know if I ever said that guy's name's right, but he was the MVP of the film for me. Like I really liked his character. The other thing that I really did like, I hated the script. I thought it was very formulaic, but the directing inside the water was really
Yeah.
incredible. Like that to me was great. I feel like there were some scenes that were very like feel like kind of claustrophobic, and like when she was gasping for air, it almost was as if like you're watching and you're kind of doing it yourself a little bit or holding your breath. You were kind of engulfed. Like when you're in the water, this film is really great. I think everything that happens in the water is great, especially the directing. Jimmy and Elizabeth They do a great job of directing the film inside the water. I just feel like the script outside of the water is where it kind of falls apart. I know it's in select theaters, releases on Netflix November 3rd. To me, I mean, watch it if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend watching. I don't think it's that great. What did you think, Tom?
So I didn't champion this film super hard. Um, it's very interesting to me off the rip because as somebody who is not too keen to the water, especially in the middle of the ocean, I'm super like enthralled by what's going on because it's kind of like when I watch skateboarding. It's something that I know I can't do. So someone who's taking it to Super Saiyan levels is very interesting to me. I do say it's like it is weird that they want it to be inspirational and it just really wasn't. For me, I like to watch that film from the perspective of Jodie Foster's character, of her friend, who is essentially dropping everything to help her friend achieve um this goal that's almost unattainable. Um but yeah, like the water scenes are nuts. Like I'll die the first 30 seconds. I'm gone. like from
Like
like
those scenes when it, like the water was consuming her face
oh
and she
my
was like,
god.
I'm out. Like, bro, I'm
And
out.
she gets and I don't think any of this is too spoilery because it is a book. There is a story about it, but there's a jellyfish scene that count me out. In the middle of the ocean where you have a very small window of time to swim through this certain canal, or it's essentially impossible. You're swimming basically in place because it's pushing back so hard. It's a very especially because he's I believe 60 years old. It's the feat is ridiculous that this was even possible. Um, but yeah, they didn't. So, and this is where I'm conflicted because, like you said, she isn't a great person, and her arc of trying to come around to seeing the error of her ways isn't that pleasing at the end. However, athletes who are at the peak um, of their profession, or who have reached the professional levels, most athletes are not nice people. They might be good people, but to reach a certain level where your whole life has, to reach a professional level in any kind of sport, your whole life has to be this sport. That's why when you see athletes on shows or doing interviews and they get asked about like stuff going on in the world or very specific things, their takes aren't super nuanced because to be at that level, they have to focus on their sport 24/7. That's why a lot of us played football, basketball, baseball, hockey. But we're not professionals because those people, for one, had a God-given talent, and two, put in more work than everybody else. Which is why, like us talking about film, we've put in so many hours where we can talk about these things. We've read these synopsis and production notes and watched so much stuff to where we can talk about it. So yeah, a lot of those people, they're not going to be great, but it is weird to make try to make an inspirational story knowing that you're kind of a jerk. And if I was your friend, I wouldn't have stuck around, no matter if it's been 30 years of friendship. If like I'm dropping everything and missing out on money and using my own money, it's very hard to go, oh yeah, man, she should stick with her. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, the film does a lot of good things when it comes to the actual sport. It's the stuff outside, the interpersonal things that are it's kind of boring. Besides, like Ree's Rise, his character when he's going through his struggles, that's interesting, but it's only touched on for a minute. The best friend, her stuff is only touched on for a minute. It is 100. It's called NYAD for a reason. NYAD for a reason because it is fully focused on just her. When everybody else around her is slightly more interesting because of how they had to come together to have her do this. I mean, you have a captain, you have, a team of I mean, and it is touched on, the things they're doing to keep her protected in the water, but there's more questions you're gonna have, like how they're keeping sharks away, how they're tracking the flow of the water, and it could have been more interesting from the someone else's perspective and still got the full story of NYAD. And I think that's where they were short-sighted in doing that, is that if you want to make this like unlike other sports biopics, you make it from the coach's perspective, the best friend, the people who are supporting, and it gives you all the insight into what was going on instead of saying me, 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 me. It's about me, and we're gonna do me. And yeah, so is it great? No. If it's like I said, someone like me who's like, this is impossible for me to do, is interesting. So it kept me kind of locked in to kind of see how this plays out. But yeah, the character, uh, which I say character, but it is a real person. She didn't come out looking the best, but humans are flawed, and not everybody's gonna be great. But like you said, to make this inspirational, you had to, you know, change a little things for cinematic purposes. I don't think you want to give your full story, every detail, because no one's gonna look great, and you do want it to, empower people. You want them to feel good when they watch it, and you do feel throughout the movie like, oh, she's kind of an asshole. Like, I understand standing your ground at some point, but these people love you essentially, and you're doing them kind of dirty. So yeah, I would be curious to know what people think once you're able to watch it. Let us know, because yeah, did you see the same things we saw? I'm curious to and if you do love her, maybe you got some trauma in your life that you didn't know that you uh, had
Exactly.
around you.
Exactly. All right, folks, we're going to transition over to one of our favorite things. Dom found this chart right here, and I want him to break it down. We're going to share our choose three. I do think this is going to be very, very hard, but Dom, let's break it down here. I'm going to share it with everybody at home. This is the chart. What do you got for us right here?
Yeah, so if you grew up in the 80s, the 90s, maybe even the 2000s, you went back and you was watching all the classic shows that we grew up watching. There was always the heartthrobs for the guys, or the girls. There was the ones who stuck out of the show, and you're like, yeah, like she's the one, she's the one. So, we have Alora from Family Matters, Topanga, Boy Meets World, Ashley Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Kimberly from Power Rangers, Zarya from The Parenthood. So number six, look, I think it's Stacey Dash and Clueless, but the picture, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So, don't hold me to that. Then we have Hillary Banks from Fresh Prince, Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell, Lisa Turtle from Saved by the Bell, and then we have uh I can't think of her name now, and I have it written down, from the Cosby Show, Denise Huxtable from the Cosby Show. This was, I believe I saw this on Facebook somewhere, and it immediately caught my eye, and I get to looking around, and I'm like, oh, this is insanely hard. I'm glad it was three and not one, because one would be impossible. It would be completely impossible. Um, Now, the hard part is you can't go off who they are as actual people. You have to go off the character. So for my three, in no particular order, because I feel like that's a little wrong to rank people in that order. I have Topanga, I have Ashley Banks, and I have Denise Huxtable. Now, you can, if you watch these shows, you know that, and I didn't realize till after I picked them, I picked all the free spirits. I picked the girls who went against the grain. They dressed they wanted to dress. They rebelled against what was the norm in their shows, and they're all cute. So it's all a win for me. Over your picks.
So this is hard. Okay. I want to apologize to Topanga already because she didn't make my final three, and I
Oh
feel really bad.
no!
I feel like she should have, but as a kid, I was a sucker for Kelly Kapowski.
Um,
Um, it- I mean, I had a massive crush, you know what I mean? And her not being on this list would just be, um, I don't know, disrespectful to my entire childhood. Hillary Banks, just another one. I the attitude, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yep.
It was just and then Denise as well. I first off, I mean, again, you really can't go wrong with anybody on this list. These are all,
No.
beautiful women, but like those three just check a box of just like it's not just what they look like, but their characters as well. But Kapowski, just I mean, it's funny because her character was just kind of like somewhat ditzy-ish,
Yeah.
her and Zach type of thing. But yeah, man, I had a thing for her when I was growing up. I mean, it would just be wrong to. And the thing, I feel bad for the Pink Power. That's a Pink Power Ranger there, right? I
Yeah.
feel bad because like that wasn't my. That was my brother's kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like I really didn't think. I really feel bad for not having Topanga on my list, though. I mean, I do, but I just couldn't. It's just like on the cusp. You know what I'm saying?
I will say that the first one I omitted when I saw this was Laura. Number one, because she was doing my man Steve so dirty. Steve was the nicest dude, the smartest dude, and he's giving all his time to you and trying to woo you, and you didn't like him till he swagged up and became Stefan, and now all of a sudden, oh, look, Stefan. Nah, you ain't like him at his Steve Urkel, you don't get Stefan. Sorry. You don't get to play this game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that too. You know what I mean? It's yeah, you have to take you take the element of what they look like out of the picture for just a minute, and then you're kind of like, all right, let's kind of get down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like let's figure out heads and tails here. So it's definitely strong. That was like when you first sent it to me the other day, I was like, oh, this is not easy. Like this is not easy at all. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, you know what I
and
mean?
and and and, and also in the let us know who you think is missing from this list, because we didn't make this list. Obviously someone on the internet made it. I'm not sure who. I'll give them credit if I knew, but who do you think is missing? Because I'm sure this list could be 50 to 100 people long. I mean, hell, even from Say by the Bell, you could add all of them
You really
from Say
could.
by the Bell.
Yeah, you could have
And
Lisa on this list.
yeah, I mean, you could add you
Not
could do
Lisa.
a whole list of just Jerry's girlfriends on Seinfeld, or the relationships on Friends, or anything like that.
Shit, you can go to the OC too while we're at it. Holy fuck. But all right, folks, that is it for this week's episode of the Popcorn People podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every week. We'll be back next week, which we're diving into November. I do believe next week's episode will be based one of the movies we'll be reviewing is David Fincher's latest film, The Killers. Very excited to talk about that film. I will be back from AFI Festival as well, where I'll have seen a bunch of new movies to talk about and let you know some of my favorites from the festival as well. But we will be back next week and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Beep 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 beep.